Hello, good morning. Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining me. You will be disappointed to notice that Laura is not with us today. She's on her way to a big job in London, so she can't really broadcast from the train on the way. So we wish her lots of luck and lots of love on her big job. While I'm going to be here on our show, on our psychic brunch. And today we'll be looking at the power of the dark moon, a time to release and reflect. So we're going to look a little bit at astrology, a little bit at tarot, and a little bit at manifesting. We're on the Bigfoot Outlaw channel. So if you're watching us on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitch, or on Instagram, go ahead and get involved. All those platforms except for Instagram, you can send your messages to me and I will flash them on the screen like so. So Grizz, whose channel it is, says you can support me by sending stars. Stars help me earn money to make more content. All true, all true. So if you would like to send your message, go right ahead. I can see it on my screen and then I flash it up on your screen. If you're on Instagram, you can either just watch, enjoy it, or you can pop and watch us on the Bigfoot Outlaw Facebook or on the Bigfoot Outlaw YouTube or on my Inbaal YouTube or on the Bigfoot Outlaw Twitch. These are all the different ways that you can get involved. So feel free to send a question, a query, or your impression of what you're doing for the dark moon. First, we're going to clarify what the dark moon is. So let me flash up a few messages that have already come in, and then we're going to talk about the dark moon and its meanings. So first of all, Mark has sent that before we even started, going, good morning, Inbaal and Laura. Hope that you're all okay. Good morning, everyone else. I hope that you've had a lovely Easter time. Please remember to click like to get alerts when these guys are on here so you don't miss them now or in the future. Thank you so much, Mark. That's an important message. And if you subscribe or like or even comment, your algorithm will favor us and will make sure that you don't need to miss a show. We've also got greetings from Sandy Black saying hello, blessings. Blessings. I hope you've had an amazing Easter. Mark is disappointed, saying, shoot, no, Laura, at least you're here so people can still learn and have a laugh. I'll give you me being here and raise it. So on Tuesday, when I normally go on in the evening, I did not go on in the evening because coming back from the Easter break can be a little bit confusing, but I am going on this evening. So I'm going to be on again. Different show, same person, different show, different topic. I'm going to be on again 10 o'clock at night UK time, 5 o'clock in the evening EST. So that's New York time, and that makes it 2 o'clock in the afternoon California time. Set yourselves according to that. So first, let's clarify some terms. What is the dark moon? The dark moon, in short, is when you can't see the moon. Is it different to the new moon? Is it different to the diamond? Not exactly, not exactly. So when you look at the ephemeris, the date book that tells you where the different planets are, what signs they're in, then we look at April and it says new moon, April 27th. Yeah, in 3 days. Also, my brother's birthday. New moon, April 27th. It will be the new moon in Taurus. That will also be the dark moon. If you feel that it's a little bit confusing, you're not alone. How can the new moon, which is a little bit of light, be the same as the dark moon, which is no light at all? The birth of the moon, when we can actually kind of see it in the sky, in the beginning might be a teeny tiny sliver, almost imperceptible. So it's Astrologically, it's kind of the same. When the new moon is born, it's still the period of the dark moon. So the period of the dark moon, when you can't see it, and the period of the new moon, almost exactly the same. I see it as a period of 3 days, the day before, the day of, and the day after. Just like the full moon, I see it as a period of 3 days, the day of the full moon, before and after. As a little aside, I don't know how much you are into your astrology, but as a little aside, it's important to remember that at the time of the new moon, then the moon and the sun are in the same sign. So when we are going through Taurus season, which we've just started on Sunday, when we go through Taurus season, the new moon will always be the same as the sun. So the new moon of Taurus season will be in Taurus. So we got into Taurus season in on Sunday. So the new moon coming up in 3 days' time is going to be in Taurus as well. The opposite is the case for the full moon. The full moon will always be the exact opposite. And so the previous full moon, looking at the ephemeris, the previous full moon was in Libra on April 13th. Back then, it was still Aries season. Aries and Libra are opposites. The following full moon will be on May 12th, and it will be the full moon in Scorpio. So that was just a little bit of background about what the dark moon is, what the new moon is. For me, it's kind of the same, but I'm going to explain to you how we can use it in kind of different ways, because mentally it can be seen as two different occasions, even though the occasion is more or less the same. Let me flash up a couple of messages from Mark, bless you, saying twice in one day. We are so lucky, folks. Well, I hope so. Let me see if anybody's watching on Instagram. Ooh, yeah. Hi, guys. I can see quite a few of you watching on Instagram. Hi, everybody. I hope you're enjoying it. If you'd like to message anything, I can't see your Instagram messages, but I will be able to see it if you pop and watch it on YouTube. This is live right now, unless if you're watching it like after. And Mark says, yeah, it appears in my Wiccan diary there's moon phases such as dark moon, an interesting read. Yes, regarding full moon, relate to that fully. Sometimes I end up with headaches at that point. I totally get that. Pisces, and Pisces is connected to the moon in a roundabout way. The Pisces tarot card is the moon card. So let's look at what we can use the dark moon for. I don't know if anybody's got any ideas. Do you want to send ideas? Are you a magical person? Do you do magic on the dark moon? So Mark, for example, says that the full moon can end up with headaches because the full moon is a big burst of energy, and it's a great time for manifesting, for writing your lists for the future, things that you'd like to reach, things that you'd like to achieve in your life. The new moon / the dark moon would be for slightly different reasons. So I'm going to wait for people to send in their ideas about the kind of magic or the kind of manifesting that will be right for the new moon / the dark moon. And I'm just going to introduce you to what's going on around the screen. So here, this is my name, Inbaal, real name, birth name, and this is my website. That's how you can get in touch with me. Below, we've got both my details and Laura's details. So if you want to catch up with Laura, even though she's not on the screen right now, she's still very involved. She'll be back next week, loves the show. So our show is Psychic Brunch, as you can see curling around underneath. What we deal with, as it says, readings, courses, manifesting. So we've got we've got Laura's Instagram here, Laura Red Witch, no gaps. And we've got my Instagram, Inbaal Psychic, no gaps. Watch out for anybody who's not got exactly that that Instagram tag, because that would be not us. So the dark moon / new moon is fabulous for at least two types of manifesting. If we think of it as the new moon, then obviously that would be a great time to manifest anything new, a new job, a new role. It's actually a great time because I hear there's a new job going on in the Vatican right now. So it's a great time for the candidates to do their little manifesting or prayer. Um, and it's a great time for magicking a new house, a move between countries, a new birth in the family. If you want your garden to start growing, anything that you want that is new, that is fresh, then now is the time to magic it. Now, I'm saying now, even though the new moon is on the 27th, because I like to start planning in advance as much as possible. If you want to get in a special candle to do your manifesting, if you want to get in a special oil to do your manifesting, now is the time to get ready. When we look at it as the dark moon, then that is the season of darkness. And the season of darkness is when you can't see anything, when you're able to keep secrets, when you're able to keep your privacy. And the power of the dark moon is a time to reflect and release. First of all, the dark moon is the exact point of meeting, the exact liminal space between the waning moon as the moon gets smaller, and then the waxing moon as the moon gets bigger. That moment of meeting allows us to think about everything that maybe we got rid of, anything that the universe got rid of on our behalf as the moon was waning, as it was shrinking, and anything that we would like to achieve during the waxing moon as the moon grows. Any kind of liminal space, magically, any kind of liminal space is wonderful for reflecting. Who can think of other liminal spaces? Let's flash up a couple of messages and you tell me your favorite liminal space. I love all of them and I'm going to go through lots of them. But yeah, you tell me about some liminal spaces that you like. Woo Riders says, hello from Northeast Florida. I only recently realized how huge Florida is because it looks so skinny on the map. So Northeast Florida. Yeah, exactly the opposite to where we're going. And Mark says, imagine being a little, your message vanished. I don't know why. Maybe a little bit too dark, even when we're discussing the power of the dark moon. So I am a huge fan of liminal spaces and liminal times. There's nothing I like more than the union of opposites. I love that in a rom-com when you've got two people from like completely different backgrounds and they get together, like in I was going to say Mystic Pizza, but I don't think anyone watching is old enough to remember that. Who remembers Mystic Pizza? I love the union of opposites when two people who might be from like different financial backgrounds or from different religious backgrounds and they get together. Oh, Mark says, that's so sweet. Sorry, it's not popping up. Mark says Gavin and Stacey comes to mind here. So if you're watching from the US, I haven't actually watched Gavin and Stacey, but if you're watching from the US, Gavin and Stacey is it a sitcom? Is it a sitcom? Dramcom? Gavin is from London and Stacey is from Wales. So they've got like a coming together of, you know, very different cultures. It doesn't sound different from where you're sitting, but it is watching maybe for us that were old. Yeah, no, Mark definitely can't remember Mystic Pizza. I think you would have been a baby when that came out. So those are kind of liminal concepts, I suppose. Liminal spaces would be, I suppose, the seashore, where you've got the sand and the water meeting. So the actual meeting point is that liminal space where one ends and one begins. And liminal times, like the dark moon, liminal times are, for example, Yuletide, Christmas time, when we've got the waning of the year as days get shorter, meeting with the waxing of the year as the days get older. Obsessed with it. And the midsummer, obviously, so it's the opposite. As the year grows and as the year wanes, it kind of meets in the middle, right? Also obsessed with the equinoxes for exactly the same reason. I love liminal times, liminal spaces, and of course, I think a general favorite is the time of sunrise and sunset. As darkness and light meet, is there an actual moment where it stops being dark and starts being light, or is it more of a process, more of a liminal, hour? So during liminal spaces, we get the opportunity, the magical opportunity, to reflect on what has just passed and to contemplate what is coming ahead. And that liminal moment where we're not before, where we're not in the place where we've already been, and we're not yet in the place where we're going to, that liminal moment is very special magically. It's when we reach the very bottom or when we reach the very top. When you sort of get on a roller coaster, you're at the very top, you haven't started descending yet, but it is coming. That is what a liminal space is like. So I'm going to flash a couple of messages, and then I'm going to have a little chat with you about the types of reflecting actions that would work for that liminal space. Mark says, yeah, I don't recognize Mystic Pizza spelling, as I'm not sure what it is. So Mystic Pizza was a Julia Roberts movie, I think before Pretty Woman. And it's fabulous. It's fabulous. So it's three girls who work in a pizza place, and the owner of the pizza place, you'll probably recognize her from like old sitcoms. I think she might have been, was she in the Facts of Life or something? But it's three girls, they're waitresses in a pizza place, and they are seen as kind of lower socioeconomic class, and then they meet some very, very wealthy guys, and the very wealthy guy and Julia Roberts, who is supposedly poor, kind of get together. So we've got a real interesting kind of interaction there. Mark says about 8 weeks till summer solstice, mentioning that, right? Shut up for others to jump in. The summer solstice or midsummer, I believe, is huge in Swedish culture and Scandinavian culture. And Mark is, in fact, also Swedish. I like Ike says, Southeast Jefferson Country, Missouri here. Great to hear from you. Thank you for joining. It must be quite early where you are. So we're talking about the power of the dark moon, a time to release and reflect with Inbaal and Laura. Laura is not here today. She'll be back next week. I am here with you. And the ways that we reflect during liminal spaces, I mean, it sounds like such a simple thing, right? We can just sort of think about everything we've done. But there are different ways to reflect. We can take the time to honor the period of time that has just passed and journal about it. So a journal is quite simple. Just sort of take a notebook and write in it, and you allow all of your thoughts to go out, spread out. and you don't stop yourself from writing anything. So even if it's not really relevant, the very action of writing allows, your soul to process what you've been through. You can light a candle, and the candle allows kind of a spiritual aspect to it. Or you could even sketch or make little, I don't know, models that would remind you of the period that you've just passed. And so if, for example, you're in a liminal space just following a holiday, or say 2 weeks off, which I think, I think maybe a lot of the working crowd can relate to, then you write down what you experienced, what you learned from it, what you wish you could have done differently. And then you finish reflecting, and then you can start setting goals for the next period. Now, those goals, and I always say that with goal setting or with manifesting, those goals do not have to be realistic. They do not have to make sense whatsoever. You can have a goal of, I'm going to have a kajillion billion yen, or I'm going to live in Buckingham Palace, or I will live to 500 years old. Those are perfectly fine goals in terms of manifesting, because the vibe of creating, the vibe of manifestation keeps you on the straight and narrow mentally, reminds you what you want, what you were wishing for, but it also creates that kind of vibe inside you where you don't care if something is logical or illogical, where it makes sense or it doesn't make sense. And when you don't care if something makes sense or it doesn't make sense, then when impossible opportunities come to you, you'll hopefully say yes to them. Now, those impossible opportunities won't necessarily be living to 500 years old, but they could be steps that could, in a very, non-literal sense, get you there. I, like Ike, is saying, yeah, Mark, can hardly get a word in edgeways. Nice one, guys. I'm loving it that you're joking. Now, let's have a look at a few tarot cards that might react to this period of the dark moon. So, first of all, there are several cards with the night sky in. The full moon, not so much, but we have the star card. And the star card is exactly what we're talking about. It is about hopes and wishes coming true. We've got the night sky there. We actually do not have a moon. Do we have a moon? We absolutely do not have a moon. So this is a wonderful card for releasing and reflecting with the dark moon. And we have a color cards with the new moon in. So we've got the Two of Swords, which is exactly a liminal card of reflection. So we're right between the water and the shore, right? A liminal space, like how we said. And this card shows a person trying to decide whether they're going this way, whether they're going that way. So it's exactly on topic. Let's have a look. What else we've got? We've got a horrible one here. I'll show you that in a second. I don't want to show you the horrible one and then not have like a really nice one to add to. Quite a few horrible ones to add to the party. Right, let's show you a couple more with the night sky that are, I suppose, kind of liminal. So we've got the Nine of Swords. Now, we don't actually see the night sky here, but we do see a lot of darkness. So it can relate to the dark moon. And this is sitting up worrying about what might come ahead, and it can relate to a time of reflecting. When we're reflecting on the past, we really want to do it with a lot of forgiveness. We don't want to reflect on the past and say, do you know, this all happened because I'm a garbage person. No, this all happened even though I tried my best. This all happened even though my intentions were pure. So this is an important one about reflecting. And we've got this one, which does show the night sky, but is a liminal moment because we've got the sun about to rise. And this is really a card of hitting rock bottom. There's no, there's no way to beautify that. This is a card of hitting rock bottom, and it shows that once you hit rock bottom, the sun will rise because nothing is ever permanent. When you get to the very bottom, then you're just about to start rising. And I guess similarly, but much more optimistically, we've got this card. It doesn't show the night sky, but it is dusk. And we've got a couple of people that have lost in a war. They're heading for the sea, they're heading back. And we've got the person who won in the war. Now, it's kind of an emotional card because obviously we would feel sad for the people who lost in the war. But also, look, there's two of them. There's only one of this guy. And we don't know who started. So we have a real interesting liminal moment where we've got possibly the time of the dark moon, because we don't see the moon at all. And I'm curious what exactly was going on here. And I'll show you one last one, even though I'm sure there's another one with a new moon in it. There's a new moon hinted in it. And I wonder whether we should go with the moon card. No, I'm just going to show you the tower. And then we're going to move to the next bit. So the tower card does show us the night sky. The tower card does not have a moon in it, but it's got a lightning bolt that is doing its thing. The tower in some decks would be called the House of God. So it's a very spiritual, very emotional card that shows like an ending, perhaps in a specific denomination. And there's people jumping off. Will they last? Will they prevail? Will they all be gone? Now, the people jumping off, we've got one who is possibly royal. We've got one who is a jester. See, he's got the jester hat on, and this one's got like the cape to show nobility. So when the dark moon arrives, or when disaster strikes, it gets the rich and the poor together. So this is another very interesting liminal moment. Now, I chose to show you that in the Rider-Waite-Smith deck because I think it's kind of clearer to understand, and I want for those concepts to be clearer. So I'm not going to go on about it too much because Laura's not here, so I'm going to keep it kind of short. But if anyone would like a tarot message about the dark moon for yourself, whether there is something to reflect upon, whether there is something to release, then go ahead and ask me. Again, if you're watching on Instagram, then I won't be able to see your message. So hop on really in the next few minutes and jump on either my YouTube or the Bigfoot Outlaw YouTube or the Bigfoot Outlaw Facebook, and then I'll be able to see your message. So I'm going to start, don't think I'm too selfish, I'm going to start with a little reading from me and ask, what is the dark moon message for me at this time? What is the dark moon message? The dark moon message for me right now is help is at hand. Now, the reason I laugh is because this really is so me. I hate asking for help. I hate receiving help. I hate accepting help. And this card is not like a gentle card that says, help is at hand. Why don't you use it? It's quite a, brutal card that says, if you don't ask for the help that is offered, or if you don't receive the help that is offered, things will be much worse for you, it says politely. So from this card, I see that the message is to say yes, if help is offered. Let me see if Mark is still about. Let's ask what your dark moon message is. Let's take a card for Mark, and it is the King. The King is there. This is really funny. So as I was pulling it, the message came in that says, go on then, Inbaal. What is the message of the dark moon for me? Thanks in advance. Perfect timing. So yeah. So he's laughing too. He's saying just as I was typing it. So your dark moon message is actually a very active one. And it says it is time for action. So the King of Wands here is just about to stand up. We can see him clenching his hand and flexing his knees. He's sitting there with his stick, but he's just about to get up. And this is a message for you that there is some physical weakness that you're leaving behind, and there is some physical strength that you're stepping towards. Now, I couldn't make it up because obviously, I know you. I couldn't make it up because it says it is time to step things up a bit. So if you were wondering to yourself, should I keep being really careful, or are things improving for me physically? This says, yes, things are improving physically for you. There is a change. There is a change for the better. So that is really, really interesting. If nobody else is asking a question, I'm going to wish you a wonderful, wonderful dark moon. I appreciate you spending this time with me, and I appreciate you coming along and following. I'm going to be here again in a few hours' time. So I'm going to be presenting Psychic Development with Inbaal at 10 p.m. UK time, 5 p.m. EST. Thank you so much, and I will see you then.